Hey everybody, and happy Monday. I have some budget decks for you. This is the first week of Showdown in the Badlands so far. It's been out for about 6 days. The budget decks are going to be a little bit different. I wanted to put some cards, some of the newer cards, in these lists, so the dust cost is a little bit higher because the new cards cost dust, or you have packs that you got. So it's not a 0 or less than 1600 dust. There is a couple there, but they're older cards. Let's go over win rates. Let's go over a couple of those new decks. Let's go over a couple of the decks that are still valid from weeks ago. Let's go over some of the cards that are in the new expansion, see what's being played the most, and got a little fun thing here that I'll show everybody. So to go over win rates, Paladin, Hunter, and Druid are pretty good. Remember, it's the first week, so everything's a little wonky. There's a lot of fluctuation right now. It's saying Rogue is very weak in this win rates list. Shaman is getting higher up. Demon Hunter, Mage, Warlock. So there's not a lot of super crazy outliers right now. Nothing I'm freaking out about. These win rates make sense for what I'm looking at on the class breakdown, and if we look at the last 3 days, I'm only going through the last 3 days. I know there was the hotfix patch and the other things, but yeah, we've got a couple of Death Knight decks that are doing pretty well. Plague Death Knight is still there. There has been a little bit change in there. Demon Hunter, they only have aggro Demon Hunter right now. We will talk about Demon Hunter briefly, but the rest of the decks are not that crazy good right now. Druid is amazing. Hunter is amazing. There's just so many decks that you can play for each one of those classes that are really high up on the food chain. Mage is doing good with Secret and Rainbow. I didn't think Rainbow was going to be knocked down with this new expansion. I'm happy to report it isn't being knocked down. Paladin is as strong as it ever was. Aggro, Highlander, Pure, Silverhand, Earthen's 54.8%, so that's pretty good. Lots of things for you to choose for, and Mech is still there, high in the win rates. Priest has Undead and Highlander, Priest. I don't normally play Priest, and I joke around that I hate Priest or what have you, but Highlander Priest is pretty fun. I have been playing it, and yeah, an expansion is really good if it has me playing a class that I normally do not like to play, so kudos to Team 5 for that. Rogue has Ogre Rogue, which is fun, Mech Rogue, which is still valid, and Big Rogue. There are 3 options here, so when you look at those win rates from the last slide, your mileage may vary there. Shaman's got Highlander, Elemental, and Totem. Highlander I'm not shocked at. Totem is really good. It's been good for a while now. Warlock has Mining, Curse, Thaddeus, Control. I got smoked by a Cursed Warlock the other day that just took me down to nothing super fast. So Curse is back, and it'll probably be stronger as we go through. And then Warrior to round it out as Control and Enrage. That's about it. It looks like Rock and Roll Warrior's trying to make a little push. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks. Remember, it's a new expansion, so the meta is going to go back and forth. So 5 decks, well, actually 7 decks, because I like you guys that much, I gave you an extra one. Let's go over some of these. Number 1 is Dragon Druid. It is 4,080 dust, and its win rate is 56.8 right now. And it's a fun deck. It doesn't need a lot of legendaries. You know, the biggest one right now is Phi, the Setting Sun, which is also probably the coolest looking signature card of the entire set so far, with Rush, Lifesteal, and Taunt. 9 mana, 4/12, costs 1 less for each dragon you've summoned this game, so you can make this super low. A lot of the minions in here are either Battlecry minions or dragons. So you're working on getting your hand full of dragons, and then the cool thing is a lot of these battle cries are, if you're holding a dragon, gain an empty mana crystal. Most likely you're holding a dragon. There's also Amber Whelp. If you're holding a dragon, deal 3 damage. Remember, you can see most of these are battle cry. Battle cry, give all battle cry minions in your deck +1/+1. It's a beast, and also this one right here, draw a beast or discover one. So if you want to draw that to get your minions +1/+1 pretty fast, that's a good thing. Never put this one in your hand. Always mulligan this because you want the quick draw. Battle Cry and quick draw will summon a copy of this, so you'll have 3 2/3 taunts on your board. Spinetail Drake is really cool. If you're holding a dragon, deal 5 damage to an enemy minion. This is a very easy deck to pilot. I think it's really fun, and this one right now, I think the only problematic class I see that's not winning with this is Demon Hunter. So again, it's all new. It's a fun deck. It is going to cost you some dust, but it's not a lot of dust, and you can start playing with some of the new cards right now. So this is a fun deck. Mining Warlock is 4,440 dust with a 51.7% win rate. There are options out there if you have a lot of Warlock cards. You don't have to sit there and run crazy with this. This is an essential, Warlock deck to get yourself situated. It's mining for a reason, because you're dealing with the Kobold Miner. You're trying to excavate treasures. The legendary treasure is the Azurite Snake, which has been nerfed from the hotfix on Friday, but it's still really good. It's super good. I haven't played this specific deck, but I have played a Highlander Warlock with most of these cards in the deck, and it is really cool. It's really fun, and having that Azurite Snake be 6 mana is not really a problem whatsoever. So you got Kobold, you got Saloon Brewmaster, which is one of my favorite cards of the expansion. When I did the set review with Amberflight Gaming, they said that, hey, pick one of your cards that's your favorite. I think this one was my favorite card. Return a friendly minion to your hand, give it +2/+2. So with Saloon Brewmaster, with Youthful Brewmaster, which you already have, and then Zoloth Gorgon, you can create copies of the cards that you may need. Why is this called Mining Warlock? Because one of the things that you want to copy a bunch of is Tram Conductor Gary, or Gary. I think it's Jerry. We'll see what it is. Whatever you decide, that's the right name for it, okay? And then it's if you excavated twice, summon 6 3/3 Tram cards with Rush. So go ahead and throw this down. Hopefully you've excavated twice. Mess around and put all those minions on the board with Rush to clear your opponent's board, and then using one or the other Brewmasters, you can go ahead and grab this again. I've done this in that deck that I was playing several times. I think I actually was able to put this card out 4 times in one game. So it's a fun deck for you to play with. You do have opportunities to mess around with this. A lot of these are cards that you probably already have, or some of them are in the core set. So it's a essential deck for you to try if you want to start seeing what the craziness is going to be when when the meta settles and the right cards are teched in. It's not that great against Demon Hunter. I don't see personally a lot of Demon Hunter right now. Druid, it's not really good against Druid, but everything else, it's pretty good. Yeah, also other Warlocks. So Curse Warlock is going to kill this, absolutely. And there's a couple others. There's the Sledge Warlock and Excavate Warlock that are probably also going to cause this one to be a little bit of a problem. But other than that, it's a fun deck for you to mess around with. Next one, and we're going to go over a contentious one here. It's Naga Demon Hunter, and it's 3,280 dust, and the win rate is 52.2%. And if you go onto social media and hear about this card here, Blind Eye Sharpshooter, 3 mana 1/3/1/5 Naga, Blind Eye Sharpshooter shooter. That is after you play a Naga, deal 2 damage to a random enemy and draw a spell. The entire deck is based around this card and being able to throw out all of these low cost cards to wipe your opponent out of the game. So there's people that are saying right now that this card is just busted no matter what they do with it. There's some that's saying this card, there's nothing wrong with it, it's fine. I think we're too close to having the expansion come out for us to say anything about whether this card is good, bad, or indifferent. It does not have, so the win rate, it's only a 52.2%, and I've seen people playing this and saying, no, it's garbage, it's not that good of a deck, or what have you. I'm thinking it for 2 reasons to play this. Number one, it is low cost, 3,280 dust. I would agree that maybe it's a higher likelihood that Blind Eye Sharpshooter will get nerfed, so if you do not have this card, card. Crafting it's probably pretty safe to say they might tweak this. Again, your dust is your dust. I'm just making suggestions here. But also, if this does move up higher on the win rates, or they find a good, a good grasp of cards that should be played in this deck could be super popular and super difficult to beat. So playing this deck would give you an idea of how the interactions go to see if it's something worth doing. That's my suggestion there. Your mileage may vary, like I said. Let's go over another one. Let's go over Secret Mage, and I like Mage, and my wife likes Mage, and Mage rocks, and this is 4,160 dust, and it's at a 65% win rate. This deck is very good against most things. I played when I was playing the Highlander Priest, and even though the win rate is saying, oh yeah, look, it's right there, Priest, 70% win rate. I could not win this game when I was playing against a Secret Mage. And it's a central mage package. It's nothing crazy. There is only Infinitize the Maxitude as the legendary. And if you don't have this card and you really like Mage, getting this card is amazing. It's still going to be in the meta for a while. It's a very good card. You just keep on getting it more and more. Blast Mage Miner, I thought it was like, oh, this isn't a great card. I was wrong. It's pretty good. For each card in your hand, deal 1 damage to a random enemy, so you can get some items off of your opponent's board that you might need to get rid of. And it's just essential. Cost 3 less for each secret you control. It's just secrets. Objective: when your opponent plays a minion, counter it. I hate that one. Counterspell. I hate that one as well. So it's just a bunch of fun stuff, and you're used to seeing fun stuff with Mage. There isn't really anything random in here. Costume Singer. It's a great card, and then you can go ahead at the end of your turn, draw a secret, and you're messing around with secrets in this deck. So it does have some excavate. The excavate treasures are really cool in this deck. It gives you something else to play. Kobold Miner. This is a very popular card right now. I will go through later on. And then freeze a minion, summon a 2/2 volatile. So it's a very versatile deck. And if you have a lot of these cards already, it should be something for you to just pick up and go. But yeah, Infinitize the Maxitude, I would definitely consider, if you are a Mage Maid, playing around with this card and crafting it, if you haven't already. Next up, Unholy Death Knight. So here we go. Here's some of the decks that you've seen in the past few weeks here and there, but these are low cost and these are viable right now. 58.3% win rate for an Unholy Death Knight. That's going to cost you 0, zilch, nada. There's nothing that you have to buy in this because you should have this already. It's the Death Knight combo with Unholy. So it's Plague Grain. You want to build up those corpses. Give a friendly undead +2 attack. So you could use this on another minion, or you could use it on your hero power and get that out to deal with something on the board. Battlefield Necromancer is a great card. At the end of your turn, raise a corpse as a 1/3 Risen Footman as taunt. Bone Digger Geist, spend a corpse to gain +1/+2. Anti-Magic Shell, this is an amazing card. I didn't know how good it was until I started playing this Unholy Death Knight, and it's really good. It helps the AoE keep those minions on the board. Chill Fallen Baron, it's the same thing. Summon 2 1/1 zombies with Reborn. This helps build up the amount of corpses you have. And then even if you use Grave Strength and give your minions +1 attack, and if you spend 5 corpses to give them +3 attack, the main thing is getting your corpses up as much as you can, and then throw Lord Marrowguard down to just smoke your opponent at the end of the game. And then Stitch Giant rounds it out. Costs 1 less for each corpse you spent this game. This should be 0 when you're playing it. So it's a good deck. It's a good against everything really, except for like Druid and Paladin, which makes sense because they're pretty high up on the win rates. It's not amazing against Warrior, but it's still at a 55.3% win rate. And again, 0 dust. So if you do not have a lot of cards, if you have none of the cards of the expansion, this is a viable alternative to at least start making you go up on the win rates. Silverhand Paladin, that's another one. 0 dust. and it's right now the win rates are 52.4%, and it's essentially Silver Hand Paladin. You're building your board with Silver Hand Paladins, you're throwing things in your deck with Grime Street Outfitter that'll put every minion in your hand, give it a +1/+1. You've got Bronze Explorer. Not only does it have lifesteal, but also gives you another thing, Discover a Dragon or what have you. And then doing those pieces, your Silver Hand recruits have +2 attack and taunt. It would be great if you had a board full of Silver Hand recruits. You can do that. You have Blessing of Kings, which can go ahead and, give a minion +4/+4. That's fun here. Some Stand Against Darkness. So this one's a good card. Summon 5/1/1 Silver Hand recruits. So, it's a basic deck. It really is. Your main thing is you want to get out Lothraxian the Redeemer as quickly as possible. So if you're mulliganing, I would try to mulligan this in your hand, even though I normally don't keep anything in my hand that's above 4 mana on the initial mulligan. But this is very good to be putting out as early as possible, because your Silver Hand recruits will be Divine Shield for the rest of the game. So again, it's viable. 52.4% win rate, and it doesn't cost you any dust. What's another one? Let's go over one more deck right now, and this is Treant Druid. I'm not surprised at this. It's 1,360 dust, so it's a very low cost. There's no legendaries. We've talked about this before. Look at that. It's a 69.9% win rate right now. 100% win rate against Demon Hunter. You just can't lose with Demon Hunter. Your mileage may vary. It's the same Treant Druid that we've been talking about the entire time that this has been viable. It's still viable. It's not going anywhere. Cool thing is, because this is so low cost, you can go ahead and start teching things in your deck. It might not be a Treant Druid after you're done messing around with it, but these are essential cards that you can go ahead and work up some big minions on the board. And then look, with Cultivation, give your minions +2/+2. This should be very low cost if you're playing a lot of Treants. So it's very viable right now. If you do not have any of the newer cards, look at this. Look at the popularity. So the popularity went to 0.85. It just went up. It just goes up. That's a huge spike from the past couple of days. So also the win rates went up. Huge spike right here. 72%. Look at that. It's a very good deck for you to play. It's not going to cost you an arm and a leg. And this is one I would try if you do not have a lot of cards from the new expansion. So let's talk about the cards from the new expansion. This is only a couple of days now. Like I said, I didn't want to go too crazy, but looking at the neutral cards, Kobold Miner is the favorite. It's the most played card of the set in neutrals. I'm not surprised at this. It is at 25.5%. So Excavate is fun, Excavate is powerful, and I'm not shocked that this is in there. Burrow Buster is also a fun card. It's Excavate. Hey, look at that. It's a 5-mana 6/4 rush that also excavates a treasure. It's a very valuable card, value-oriented card, excuse me. Reno. I told you all, I thought that Reno would be safe to craft. Absolutely. And it is 18.1% played rate right now. And then look, Saloon Brewmaster, my favorite card, the one that I thought was very powerful in this expansion. This one right here has a 10.7% win rate. It's a very good card. So I don't see anything crazy here in terms of legendaries. Yes, this doesn't shock me that Sheriff Barrelbrim is a card that's played a lot, a legendary that's played a lot because it's one of the free ones that you get. Thunderbringer, that doesn't shock me as well. What did shock me is these ogre gangs. These are amazing. I didn't think that they were going to be so good, but I'm completely wrong. These are really cool. The chance to attack the wrong enemy doesn't really hurt you too much. The Ogre Gang eggs, which is whenever this attack gain a Divine Shield and 50% chance to gain Lifesteal instead, I'll take either one of those any day of the week. I thought these were just going to be busted like I've seen some of the other, like, hey, 50% chance to do something that you don't want it to do. It's not that crazy. And then Kingpin Pud. is awesome as well, because you can resurrect the Ogre Gang and give them Wind Fury. I've got this running in a Priest deck, I have this running in a Paladin deck, and I think it's also running in Rogue, and they're really fun to play. So if you have some of these, it is going to be expensive for you. If you have some of these, it would be something that you could do to have some fun in the game that won't cost you an arm and a leg. And the last thing I want to talk about, I've mentioned it many times before, I like talking, I like hearing myself talk, and look at this, Astalor. Astalor is still in the game. As of right now, as of filming, its popularity is 24.62%. I have seen this card in a lot of decks right now. So if you have this card in your collection, I would not be shocked at all to see this play more and more and more for the next couple of weeks until it makes itself useless and not really necessary. It's in so much. It's in almost all of the Highlander decks that I've seen. It's in almost all of the 40-card Highlander decks that I've seen. It is all over the place. It's very popular, and it makes sense because it's just a busted card that is able to give you, give you damage, gives you it gives you armor, and then it beats the heck out of your opponent's board or their face, depending on what you're doing. It's a great card, and if you haven't crafted it now, why aren't you crafting this card? So that's it. I spoke too much. There will be a midweek meta report. I will go ahead and see after the first week of the expansion being live, and it won't just be budget decks. It won't just be low-cost alternatives. This will be how the big decks are playing on higher than gold win rate, ladders, and we will see you in the next video.